brought to an end. It's got to be completely exposed for what it is. And in my opinion, it needs to completely be dissolved. I don't see any good left in child protective services. As far as picking up a child that's being totally abused, the police could do that just as well as child protective services.
And then you have due process. And exactly. Well, take Texas. Did you hear about the Texas Youth Commission?
I don't know.
I mean, there's so many crimes. I'm not knocking you if you haven't.
You're not talking about all those children in Texas that were picked up at one time.
No, that was with that Mormon sect.
Right.
Did you hear about how the child jails and the child facilities had organized pornographic rings and like big rape parties for the children, and the state police found out about it and then weren't allowed to stop it, and now they forced the director out because he did the right thing?
I have heard about that in other states, but I have not heard about what happened in Texas. No.
Okay, well, here in Texas, it came out that every major facility was doing stuff that people wouldn't even believe. You can read it in the mainstream news. Now, they used that to pass a law for more money for the agencies. I'm sure you heard about Florida, where it turned out the directors were pedophiles and 3,000 kids were missing and all that. What did they get? More money, more power. The incredible thing is, the worse they get, the more money and power they get.
It appears that way. It appears that way. But all of it is based on money, and that's where it's going to have to be cut off. The federal incentives have got to be cut off and be removed on a federal level in order to get this stopped.
And that's where we go now in the closing minutes we have left in this interview, Senator. And again, we can only commend you and pray for you in this fight and then politically going after you. Solutions. But before we hit that, I wanted to finish up. Specific orders for specific children that look a specific way. I mean, you've now saying you've discovered that.
Right. We have discovered that. We haven't discovered it in every state, but we've discovered it in many states, and we have so many families calling that are absolutely delirious. They are so desperate. They do not know where to turn, and actually, they have no place to turn for help. And of course, parents, the poorer the families are, those are the ones who are targeted because they don't have the wherewithal to fight the system or hire an attorney. And they are just caught up in it, and many of them are because their children are blue-eyed or blonde or exactly what someone wants, and those families are targeted. So it is just heartbreaking as to what is going on and what we've got to do in order to bring this to an end.
Have you ever heard about what the former head FBI agent in Southern California discovered about the CPS, even in the 80s? They have public auctions, closed auctions in Las Vegas with the kids on the block. These people.
Well, we have some states now that put the children on the internet, and you can just go through their pictures and choose the one you want.
See how pure evil's just right out in the open now, like it's no big deal.
And then there are some children that even if you might like to, if a really good person who is really trying to help a child will choose that child, oftentimes then they refuse to let these parents have the child. So if your motives are pure as the driven snow, and you're trying to really help get a child out of that system and give them a new life, oftentimes they won't let the child go.
No, they want client houses where they warehouse the kids, a lot of times locked up, and they've ruled, they can legally lock them up and stuff in these little cages. They only want client foster parents that want to run the money in and put them on drugs because that's shared with the local CPS.
Right. It is one of the most corrupt situations that we could ever have in this country. And
well, what we need is to take the country back, have mass trials, and hang about 10,000 of these people high, because this rivals the Nazis. By the way, the Nazis had CPS. That's how they started grabbing people's kids. The year Hitler was elected in 1933, he was a eugenicist. We'll be right back with the senator. Stay with us. Final segment. The Nazis had CPS. That's how they started grabbing people's kids. The year Hitler was elected in 1933, he was a eugenicist. We'll be right back with the senator. Stay with us. Okay, Senator, what are solutions to fight these demons? I mean, we just get the public educated, what we're doing now, about their rights, get bigger organizations together to fight them, Congress, state laws. Because we always push to get state laws to stop them, and they always take it over and get more power out of us trying to lobby to reform. How do we beat pure evil?
Very, very strong bill that I introduced to correct it here in the state of Georgia, and of course that bill was defeated. I also had several parents lined up to come down and do a video, and the video was defeated. And then, of course, I lost my Senate seat. So there's a huge battle over this, and many states don't want to let that money go that they've gotten used to. And one thing we haven't mentioned that I'd like to bring out is how huge the bureaucracy is. It is made up of caseworkers and social workers and attorneys and guardian ad litem and judges and psychiatrists and psychologists, and it goes on and on. The bureaucracy is huge, made up of people who look to the children in Child Protective Services for their job security. And none of these people want to let this be brought to an end.
In fact,
this is where they get their paycheck.
And it's not being brought to an end. It's radically expanding.
Absolutely it is, and they're expanding with it. And we can see the children that are already being sent into mental health facilities. I had a mother that 2 children were put in mental health facilities, and of course that brings in Medicaid, and these 2 children were on 16 drugs a day.
Good Lord.
So it is corrupt to its absolute core, and we must stand against it. We must keep talking about it. And families that are listening to us, they need to continue to fight the system.
Okay, Senator, I got to stop you. We got 45 seconds. What about websites, or how do folks get a copy of your bill to get it passed in their state? I got to have you back for more solutions, but contact info, groups you recommend.
There are just welcome groups that they can recommend, or they can contact me at Eagle Forum of Georgia.
Just Google Eagle Forum of Georgia, or there's also the Senator Nancy Schaefer website as well. Nancy Schaefer, we want to have you back up. God bless you. You're a true angel, and we appreciate your courage. I know it's hard to do what you do because it's so hard. God bless you.
What a great lady. Senator Nancy Schaefer is a martyr for this cause. She was murdered for exposing CPS and family court tyranny. What a wonderful representative of the people. How rare. Judges cause parental alienation. Judges cause parental alienation. With trial by jury, parental alienation would probably be of little concern. You wouldn't hear about it. Whenever custody is questioned, a jury should decide, not a single judge. A jury of your peers is less likely to deny either parent equal parenting time. This will cut down on family breakups because people will realize that a single judge who's an attorney, a barbarian union member, prone to create work for fellow barbarians, would not be deciding on custody. Parents who don't play nice, who don't cooperate with the other parent, or who belittle the other parent, will have to answer to a jury and risk losing parenting time. You see, if we had real courts that followed the law, the Bill of Rights, judges couldn't get away with terrorizing families, ignoring the Constitution. It would not be okay for them to do it. We could see them. Courts need to be live streamed. They can only do what they do, these a-holes, because they have secret hearings. In other words, instead of judge-created parental alienation as we have now, it would be parents alone who will be to blame for alienating the other parent. It's harder to bribe a jury than a single judge. And juries are not made up of attorneys, I would presume. So when you got a barbarian judge deciding on a case that's going to affect the employment of other barbarians, he's going to be prone to create more work for them. He's in their union, the bar. A lot of his good friends are there representing the victims, us. Attorneys and judges have no financial incentive to provide peaceful resolutions. They intentionally create and perpetuate litigation, arguing for or ordering unequal custody awards to generate attorneys' fees and more federal funding. Unequal custody orders drive the family destruction industry. Judges who issue those orders against fit parents commit felonies every time. They're felons. They're traitors, these guys. They belong behind bars, if not hanging from a rope. Treason. Judges who issue those orders against fit parents commit felonies every time. They must be prosecuted under U.S. Code Title 18, Section 242 for deprivation of rights under color of law, acting as a judge but without the authority, the jurisdiction, the power to do so, to do acts they're not entitled to do. The current system has replaced trial by jury with court-ordered psychological evaluations, which requires less work for judges than impaneling a jury, meaning courts are a large source of income for psychologists. Therefore, it is not surprising that the APA, American Psychological Association, has not recognized parental alienation for the DSM, the Diagnostic Statistical Manual, psychologists use to unscientifically pin labels on people. It's a joke, the DSM. According to them, I'm mentally ill. I have, what is it called? Defiance disorder, whatever it is. In other words, if you dissent from what the government's doing, you're mentally ill. So I'm mentally ill. So you better not watch this, folks. And it really does not matter if the APA fails to do so if we have trial by jury, because PA would be much less likely to happen. You know, if you want to, I started out in college as a psychology major. I learned enough about it to know that it's all mostly theoretical, except for like physiological psych, deals with the brain. Okay, fine. And but mostly it's a pseudoscience. It's sort of like a religion. It replaces the religion takes the place of religion for a lot of people. And the psychologists are like secular priests. I have an article on under my notes section in Facebook. Check that out. But so instead of worrying about APA recognition of parental alienation, we should focus on demanding trial by jury. The law of the land guaranteed by the Amendments 6 and 7 of the Bill of Rights. As our founders realized, it is better to trust a jury of one's peers than a single judge. A note on suicide. You can only do suicide once and only make it worse for your kids and do nothing for the cause of liberty. What's happened to men in this country? Remember World War II. Those guys ran to the recruiters to go risk their lives for freedom. Now they won't even go expose crooked judges. Treasonous judge imposters. You know, all these, we've got troops in dozens of countries around the world for no constitutional reason. Why in the hell don't we bring them here? And why don't they focus on the real domestic enemies that have taken over our institutions of government and our court system? That's the domestic enemies we need to focus on, folks. I was a Marine. I never was on active or on never went to fight in any of the illegal wars, put it that way. I was in between 79 and 83, and I got out when I was reading foreign policy periodicals saying that we are eventually going to go to war in the Middle East over oil and or Israel. I said, no thanks, I don't want any part of that. But where are the veterans who aren't over there? Why aren't they here? And why are the veterans committing suicide? What happened to your oath you took? People need to wake up. We need to wake up veterans and get them to follow their oath to fight the enemies who've taken over that building behind us and courts all throughout the nation. So suicide, it's pitiful cowardice in my opinion. You know, what's the worst that can happen if you go out and demonstrate in front of a courthouse or me here? They can put you in jail. So what? At least you're alive to fight another day and have hope to see your kids one day. You know, people are more worried about how it's going to affect their job or their pending court case. When they need to go to the court of public opinion, they need to go out to their local courthouse or to their local state capital. That's the only court that we have working right now, folks. This one here. And in your state, your capital, your courthouse. That's the real court now. The other courts don't work. They've been seized. They're under siege by tyrants. It's as if we've been invaded by aliens from another planet. They became judges and attorneys. We got to get them out. in our country, if our country were physically invaded by another nation or aliens from space, would men and women just start committing suicide? Oh God, we're being invaded. I better blow myself away. What's happened to the men in this country? Where are the veterans? I just got this from Don Rufty a little while ago. It's a something that he and some other fathers signed here at the U.S. Capitol in 1998. It's called a Declaration of Disgust. Be a founding father in the Father's Revolution. The Declaration of Disgust. We, the divorced fathers of minor children, declare our disgust with the lower court divorce judges who have blatantly violated our property, parental, and human rights. These violations of our civil rights, which are protected by the Constitution of the United States, are felonies which are prohibited by federal law. The commission of these felonies under color of law are atrocities which have ruined the lives of millions of American citizens, primarily children. These abominations have made the United States of America the most fatherless society which has ever existed on earth. These crimes are expressly forbidden by numerous federal laws and Supreme Court decisions. Many social calamities have resulted from the illicit actions of the $200 billion a year racket known as the divorce industry. I now call it the family destruction industry. Those involved in this iniquity have obviously engaged in it for the purpose of acquiring filthy lucre. This carnage, which has sickened our land, must stop. We implore our federal government to defend our constitutionally protected rights as it should. We beseech our federal magistrate judges to unhesitatingly issue indictments against those who are guilty upon presentation of evidence of guilt by any offended citizen of these United States. Such requirement of the federal magistrate judges is stipulated by Rule 4 of the Federal Rules of Criminal Procedure. We demand that the rule of law be applied to these unprosecuted criminals who sit on the bench committing these felonies. We ask for vigorous federal prosecution of the guilty parties who are, in essence, habitual criminals engaged in a continuous crime. May the Lord God Almighty strengthen our hand. Amen. Several people signed this declaration back in 1998, right here. So those guys recognized then that we don't need new laws. We need our laws enforced. We need judges to be prosecuted. Even was mentioned here, Title 18, Section 242, color of law. So, you know, this is not my idea. I didn't come up with this. It took me years to figure it out, too. Again, I used to go down to Richmond with the fathers trying to get shared parenting, equal parenting. We were just trying to get joint custody then. Presumption of joint custody. But, you know, where has it led? And what would it lead to, even if some states did it? I mean, the one in Kentucky they just passed was weak. Judges still had discretion, as I recall, to decide to object to the equality. So, I mean, if the judges don't follow the Bill of Rights, they're not going to care about any state constitution except those that benefit them. The discretion. They don't want to lose that discretion because that's where their power is. Their false discretion, their unlawful discretion. Counterfeit courts, imposter judges, traitors, oath violators. This is an article by Phyllis Schlafly of Eagle Forum, of which Senator Nancy Schaefer was a member. I think she was the head of the Eagle Forum in Georgia. Phyllis Schlafly was the president. She passed away a couple years ago, I think now. She wrote this in 2005. Federal incentives make children fatherless. Why has Congress appropriated taxpayers' money to give perverse incentives that break up families and deprive children of their fathers? The built-in financial incentives in the current child support system have expanded the tragedy of fatherless children from the welfare class to millions of non-welfare divorced couples. Americans have finally realized that providing generous welfare through aid to families with dependent children, AFDC, was counterproductive because the father had to disappear in order for the mother to receive taxpayer-paid benefits. Fathers left the home, illegitimacy rose in alarming numbers, and children were worse off. AFDC provided a taxpayer-paid financial incentive to reward girls with their own monthly check, food stamps, health care, and housing if they have an illegitimate baby. She doesn't need me, she's got welfare, became the mantra. Congress tried to reform the out-of-control welfare system by a series of child support laws passed in 1975, 1984, 1988, 1996, the famous Republican welfare reform, and 1999. Unfortunately, these laws morphed the welfare system into a massive middle-class child support system that deprives millions of children of fathers who never abandoned them. As Ronald Reagan often said, the most terrifying words in the English language are, "I'm from the government and I'm here to help you." CPS. People think that child support enforcement benefits children, but it doesn't. When welfare agencies collect child support, the money actually goes to the government to reimburse for welfare payments already given to mothers, supposedly to reduce the federal budget, which of course is never reduced. They just print more money, get us further in debt. In 1984, Congress passed the Child Support Enforcement Amendment, which required the states to adopt voluntary guidelines for child support payments. In 1988, Congress passed the Family Support Act, which made the guidelines mandatory, along with criminal enforcement, and gave the states less than a year to comply. The majority of states quickly adopted the model guidelines, conveniently already written by an HHS consultant who was president of what was shortly to become one of the nation's largest private collection companies, making its profits on the onerous guidelines that create arrearages. The 1988 law extended the guidelines to all child support orders, even though the big majority of those families never had to interact with government in order to pay or receive child support. This massive expansion of federal control over private lives uses a federal case registry to exercise surveillance over 19 million citizens, whether or not they are behind in child support payments. The states collect the child support money and deposit it in a state fund, but the federal government pays most of the administrative costs and therefore dictates the way the system operates through mandates and financial incentives. The federal government pays 66% of the state's administrative overhead costs, 80% of computer and technology enhancement costs, and 90% of DNA testing for paternity. In addition, the states share in a nearly $500 million incentive reward pool based on whatever the state collects. The states can get a waiver to spend this bonus money any way they choose. However, most of the child support owed by welfare class fathers is uncollectible. Most are either unemployed or earn less than $10,000 per year. So in order to cash in on federal bonus money, build their bureaucracies, and brag about successful child support enforcement, the states began bringing into the government system middle-class fathers with jobs who were never, or probably never would be, on welfare. These non-welfare families have grown to 83% of child support cases and 92% of the money collected, creating a windfall of federal money flowing to the states. Extortion from fathers via the federal government. The federal incentives drive the system. The more divorces and the higher the child support guidelines are set and enforced, no matter how unreasonable, the more money the state bureaucracy collects from the feds. Follow the money. The less time that non-custodial parents, usually fathers, are permitted to be with their children, the more child support they must pay into the state fund, and the higher the federal bonus to the states for collecting the money. The states have powerful incentives to separate fathers from their children, to give near total custody to mothers, to maintain the father's high-level support obligations, even if their income is drastically reduced, and to hang on to the father's payments as long as possible before paying them out to the mothers. The General Accounting Office reported that in 2002, states were holding $657 million in UDC, undistributed child support. Fatherless boys are 63% more likely to run away, 37% more likely to abuse drugs, and fatherless girls are twice as likely to get pregnant and 50% more likely to commit suicide. Fatherless boys and girls are twice as likely to drop out of high school and twice as likely to end up in jail. And the vast majority of men in jail were raised in fatherless homes. So you got a child support Gestapo industry. You got the psychological industry. You've got the prison industrial complex. You've also got our sickness maintenance system, so-called healthcare system. We can no longer ignore how taxpayers' money is incentivizing divorce and creating fatherless children. Nor can we ignore the government's complicity in the predictable social costs that result from more than 17 million children growing up without their fathers. Again, that's an article by the late Phyllis Schlafly of Eagle Forum, written in May 2005. I think most of it's still true today. Hasn't changed much, if any. And Dr. Warren Farrell, I just covered his event at a local bookstore in Arlington, speaking about the boy crisis. And I haven't read all that book, but it's the first part of it brought me to tears. And of course, it's not just fathers, it's not just boys, it's girls too that have suffered, but boys have suffered tremendously more being without their fathers. If anybody out there wants to call me, my number is 703-798-7598. 703-798-7598, but text me first and identify yourself. Yeah, or actually text me, and when I reply to you, then I'll either call you or you can call me, but please text me first, 703-798-7598. If you'd like to speak. I'll put you on the mic here. Gonna. Hello? Gonna play some music from Joyce the Voice, Joyce Catalano.
Don't look at me that way. It can happen to you. You don't know where I've been or what I'm going through.
And it's amazing how that song's so true. It's like, the verse in the Bible where Jesus was brought before the court, and they said, well, he's here in court, so he must have done something wrong. I mean, how true is that for people in this movement? Now, I used to have people ask me, what'd you do to her? Well, what she claimed I did to her, the case was dismissed in criminal court. Yet I still was sentenced to loss of my kids. As I guess Joyce was too.
I got post-visitation blues. Don't wanna be in my shoes. When I kiss them goodbye, I shouldn't cry. Just pretend it's not abuse. I got post-traumatic stress. I got pain I cannot express. And I bite my tongue till the visit is done. Fake a smile under duress. I got post-visitation blues. Don't wanna be in my shoes. When I kiss them goodbye, I shouldn't cry. Just pretend it's not abuse. Well, there's a pebble in my shoe. I don't know what I'm gonna do. I can't sleep at night, can't see the light, just trying to get through. I got post-visitation blues. Don't wanna be shoes. When I kiss them goodbye, I shouldn't cry. Just pretend it's not abuse. Well, they take you for a fool. You gotta suck up to their rules. So you play the game and you get the blame. Doesn't matter what you do. Title IV is their honor code. Social Security, their payload. The judge doesn't care. CBS gets a share. Kick the can down the road. I got post-visitation blues. Don't wanna be in my shoes. When I kiss them goodbye, I shouldn't cry. Just pretend it's not abuse. They say my kids are doing fine. I haven't seen them in a long time. And they tell them lies, but kids don't realize they are victims of this crime. I got post-visitation blues. Don't wanna be in my shoes. When I kiss them goodbye, I shouldn't cry. Just pretend it's not abuse. I got post-visitation blues. Don't wanna be in my shoes. When I kiss them goodbye, I shouldn't cry. Just pretend it's not abuse.
Yeah, she really captures what it's like to be a visitor in that song. And it's great to hear it from a woman's perspective. She's written 5 great songs. for this movement, family rights, and I thank you, Joyce. Thank you for letting me record you and play along with you.
Christ support them by working night and day. All that matters is how much you pay. Try to argue or validate, they take your visits away. Now it doesn't matter if you're straight or gay, male or female, you've gotta pay. False accusations of abuse against you turns proceedings into a zoo. It doesn't matter how innocent you are, if the judge doesn't like you, you won't go far. An outstanding citizen, your record was clean. All they want from you is your green. Attorneys and judges and CPS, and drop your wallet, want you to acquiesce. The fix is in using Title 4, trusting God, or there's the door. More and more chaos is their aim. They make their own rules to play the game. You wait months upon months for court appointments to make your case at your child's expense. You hear denied over and over again. You feel alone, how can you win? You get frustrated with all the time that you waste. To them you're nothing, another case. So you join groups and go to Washington, D.C. to fight this Title 4 travesty. Our kids are pawns in this dealership. Raising awareness is just the tip.
Raising awareness is just the tip. So true. Tip of the iceberg. We got to wake people up. Apparently it doesn't happen to enough people that the entire population is not outraged yet. Except when Mexican families are separated from each other. Hopefully that will wake some people up. It's terrible that that's happening, but again, we should bring our troops home from these illegal wars all around the world and defend our borders. That's what that building behind us is supposed to do. And that's what the president has power to do per the Constitution, to defend our borders. That's his job. So how are these people getting in here? What do we have a military for if not to defend our borders and let the legal immigration happen?
We're raping you for legal fees. 'Cause we're slave masters. Yeah, we're your slave masters. If you protest against our crime, let me tell you how it will be. We're raping you for legal fees. 'Cause we're slave masters. Yeah, we're your slave masters. If you protest against our crime, we'll take your money every time. 'Cause we're slave masters. Yeah, we're your slave masters. If we steal your kid, you're bound to fight. You'll litigate with all your might. Spend every dime. We'll squeeze you tight. There'll be no end to your sad plight. Slave masters. Slave masters, yeah, we're your slave masters. The family court is a facade. The Constitution's been outlawed. There is no justice, only fraud. Imposter judges playing God. If you steal your kid, you're bound to fight. You'll litigate with all your might. Spend every dime. We'll squeeze you tight. There'll be no end to your sad plight. Slave masters. 'Cause we're your slave masters. Yeah, we're your slave masters. And we're a multi-billion-dollar family destruction industry. Lots of reasons for taking the family courts out. We got lots of reasons for taking the family courts out. They're evil child nappers destroy families, yeah. So how much more time before we kick them out? You try to use reason, they're running kangaroo courts. You try to use reason, but they're running kangaroo courts now. They're evil child nappers, they deny jury trials. So how much more time before we kick them out? Try to appeal it, they think they're gods on the bench. They try to appeal it, they think they're gods on the bench. They just ignore your petitions, dismiss your pleadings, yeah. So how much more time before we kick them out? What do we want? Justice. When do we want it? Now. Prosecute crooked judges. Start enforcing the law now. They commit treason, breaking the oath that they swear. They commit treason, breaking the oath they swear. Now they violate our freedoms, the tyrants in secret courts. So how much more time before we kick them out? They're child abusers, devils in big black robes. They're child abusers, devils in big black robes now. They're getting federal funding for every kid they steal. Time to enforce the law, send crooked judges all to jail. Child nappers, kidnappers, yeah. Child nappers, kidnappers, yeah. What do we want? Justice. When do we want it? Now. Prosecute crooked judges. Start enforcing the law now. Child nappers, kidnappers, yeah. Child nappers, kidnappers, yeah. We got something to say, cause we're all in pain. Until we get some justice, say again and again, we're gonna take you down, take our courts back, because the law tells us so. Oh, you can't do that. How many millions of times have judges stolen our kids? In secret kangaroo courts they keep their tyranny hid. We're gonna take you down and take our courts back, because the law tells us so. You can't do that. Everybody's seen. Families are being destroyed. Young justice machine. It's federal funds for stealing kids away. You better take heed, cause we're coming your way for all your treasonous crimes. You're all gonna pay, we're gonna take you down, take our courts back, because the law tells us so. Oh, you can't do that. What am I talking about now? Privacy invasions, you can't do that. Psych evaluations, you can't do that.
Protracted litigation, you can't do that. Parental alienation, you can't do that. Unlawful terminations, you can't do that without a jury trial. Due process denials, you can't do that. Custody denials, you can't do that. With no jury trials, you can't do that. And secret hearings, you can't do that. Running debtors' prisons, you can't do that. Everybody's seen. Families are being destroyed, your injustice machine. It's federal funds for stealing kids away. You better take heed, cause we're coming your way. For all your treasonous crimes, you're all gonna pay. We're gonna take you down and take our courts back, because the law tells us so. You can't do that, because the law tells us so. Tyrants, you can't do that. Here's how we're gonna do it.
Here we stand, joy.
You can't hide your crimes away anymore.
Justice band back. Here we stand, justice band, backs against the wall. Family courts steal our kids, terrorize us all. Everywhere judges glare, each and every day. When we seek remedy, they just laugh and say, hey, we're gonna hide our crimes away. Hey, we're gonna hide our crimes away. No cameras in our courtrooms. How can we even try? We can never win. As long as they run secret courts, we're doomed before we begin. How can we get jury trials? How can they get away with denying public inquiry? They just laugh and say, hey, we're gonna hide our crimes away. Hey, we're gonna hide our crimes away. If they were alive today, what would our founders say? They'd be shocked to see how far from the Bill of Rights we've strayed. It's long past time we modernize courtrooms everywhere. Demand all courts be streamed online. Then we can all say, hey, now you can't hide your crimes away. Hey, now you can't steal our kids away. Today,
what would our founders say? They'd be shocked to see how far from the Bill of Rights we've strayed. It's long past time we modernize courtrooms everywhere. Demand our courts be streamed online, then we can all say, hey, now you can't hide your crimes away. Hey, now you gotta watch you every day. Hey, now you can't steal our kids away. CPS, we're go watching you every day. Hey, now you can't hide your crimes away. Hey, now you can't steal our kids away. Hey, now you can't hide your crimes away. Hey, now you can't steal our kids away. Let me tell you how it will be. We're raping you for legal fees, 'cause we're your slave masters. Yeah, we're your slave masters. If you protest against our crime, we'll take your money every time. 'Cause we're your slave masters. Yeah, we're your slave masters. If we steal your kid, you're bound to fight. You'll litigate with all your might. Spend every dime, they'll squeeze you tight. There'll be no end to your sad plight. Slave masters. Slave masters, yeah, we're your slave masters. And where a family court is a facade, the Constitution's been outlawed. There is no justice, only fraud. Imposter judges playing God. If we steal your kid, you're bound to fight. You'll litigate with all your might. Spend every dime, we'll squeeze you tight. There'll be no end to your sad plight. Slave masters, 'cause we're your slave masters. Yeah, we're your slave masters. And we're a multi-billion-dollar family destruction industry.
take our children away. You destroy families every day. You profit from the games you play. You swore the oath, but you disobey it. You ignore perjury and liars. You reward their evil desires. You pour gasoline on the fire. You terrorize and you conspire. You violate our freedom. No explanation, no reason. When justice comes, you be tried for treason. You perpetuate litigation. You create pain and frustration. You enjoy chaos and confusion. You trample on the U.S. Constitution. You wear a big black robe. Then you tear up the legal code. You rule and justice explodes. You tell the law to hit the road. You violate our freedom. No explanation, no reason. When justice comes, you will be tried for treason. You demonize Fed's parents. You close public hearings. You deny jury trials, and you lie in your rulings. You take our children away. You destroy families every day. You profit from the games you play. You swore the oath, but you disobey it. You violate our freedom. Give no explanation and no reason. When justice comes, you'll be tried for treason.
That song's called Big Black Robe. You know, it's okay to be angry. People have forgotten how to get angry. You need to start watching some old westerns or something and, you know, get some kind of role model for anger. Because people have lost that. They don't. It's okay to be angry for a just cause. Even the Bible says that. It says not to be angry without says don't get angry without a cause. It's a sin to be angry without a cause. We have a cause. It's time to get angry and stay angry. Our father's out there working. I didn't have his big name. His father's there demonstration. Might have been some force the law, prosecute crooked judges.
Yeah. What are the judges doing?
Well, they're violating parents' rights.
Oh, you mean like equal time with their kids?
Yeah, the states created these. Yeah, exactly. I mean, everybody has, unless you take any family and then go to any house around here, married couple, children, they have equal rights.
Right.
They're born with that. It's one of our natural rights that we can talk about.
Right.
We talk about it. The Constitution recognizes.
When they split up though, then they they don't have equal rights.
No, you don't lose your rights, but the judges violate. They presume a false authority because of state statutes. You give them a list of parameters to decide who's going to be the federal parent.
Right.
That's unconstitutional. The whole statutory scheme is unconstitutional.
Why do
Because unless the parent is found unfit, it's been shown to be causing harm to the child, there's no issue.
they should both have equal time?
Absolutely.
So why is it that they don't?
Unless they agree otherwise. You know, the parents can agree to whatever they want.
Why do they still do it with the custodial versus? Why aren't they following that equal time?
Because it's an industry.
It's an industry.
Judges are teams, board members, and they create a racket.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I talked about it. Oh, yeah,
Yes.
Oh, yeah. So your website now is
Either one of these
hey man, appreciate talking to you. All right, yeah. Thanks a lot. Yeah. What's your first name again?
Mark.
Mark. Okay. All right, thanks Mark. Have a good one.
Okay, I think that's it for today. I'm gonna start breaking down.